Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Yeah, just a quick update. Just for the last few sort of days of price action, I thought I'd go through it. And yeah, we're nearly at the 80,000 mark, which I've been talking about on Bitcoin for a couple of weeks now. So yeah, so I just thought I'd go through some of my plans, my updates, just to see what sort of where we're at with the updates. So just to start, so basically. So what we're seeing at the moment, so we're in the sort of range I talked about previously. So from 75,000 up to sort of 79, sort of 80,000 mark. So what I'm expecting to happen, because again we've got, let me just move this out of the way. So we've got the CME gaps sort of forming, well, not forming up here, which were just on the verge of closing. So starting from the 79.7 region, and it goes all the way up to here on the 83.745 region. Now these gaps do tend to form pretty quick. We had one last week, filled almost immediately, and then we're on the verge now of filling up this sort of even bigger one. So yeah, so my main bias is long. There's no reason not to be long at the moment. Again, we are tapping sort of the range high, which I've again just gone through now. Just go back for you. So we're at the range high, but again, what you sort of could expect, it depends how bullish we're going to be. But again, my main idea is this is the first wave up off the lows before we see a bigger sort of correction over the next sort of few weeks, few months. But what you sort of want to look for is a reclaim of the 79 sort of 350 region. We get sort of a spike up, then we sort of get that big sort of move down like this. But as it stands, it's very much bullish at the moment. It's getting quite volatile as we're sort of getting up to these sort of regions. Sort of today, what I was waiting for a breakout. I mean, I've been long since a few days back, but with quite a small position sort of remaining. So my idea today was to get in on the breakout, start shedding profits as we hit sort of 80, sort of higher up. I've already shed about 10%. But again, as long as we're above this breakout region, we come back and retest it, bounce up, it's completely fine. You know, what we could be in at the moment, which, yeah, I mean, the volume has been pretty good. We're seeing open interest starting to rise again, which is really bullish, but we could be in a wave sort of three, which, like I said before, minimum target, the 1618 extension. Once we get to that point, you then look for a one-to-one off that extension. I'll go through this again at other times in the future, but that would take us up to the 84 region, close that gap, then we start getting that massive sort of drop. So how that would look in terms of Elliott waves, you get, so wave 1, wave 2, we're now in the wave 3, which would finish about the 81.5, we will then get a pullback, finish up here, or in between the sort of region, then start to come down. But once we start getting to the 84.5 region, people are going to be sort of long on it. Really up to try and get to the 100,000, but I don't see us getting there in one hit. We might do, but again, I don't think it's possible. What I think is more possible is we start wicking up to the sort of 81.5 region, again coming up to the sort of range low of this sort of overall range here. Form like a distribution sort of range, so how that would look, let me go through it. So distribution is just basically when the big players will basically sell big positions but in a smart way. They'll create sort of FOMO at the highs, exit their position. People will then long, creating liquidity, which the whales will then short into that, which then in turn will create these big spikes up, back down, and we will be catching these moves. Rest assured, short, long, we'll take anything we get. But basically, how I think this will form is we'll sort of get that sort of initial spike up, sort of to, yeah, I'd say at 81.5 region. We'll start closing that CME gap. So one big drop, everyone starts panicking, will then continue up sort of slowly, fill this gap at 845, then huge sell off, and we just start doing this for a bit for the next sort of few months. But yeah, no, it's exciting times. So basically, in terms of the sort of for those interested, I know people have been mentioning about my edit wave counts, etc. Again, it's just more like a guideline. It's not a set in stone. This is definitely going to happen, but this is so really reassuring to see. Again, we can all sort of say that the bottom's definitely in short term. So the only two options you've really got, and the sort of options I'm looking at. I mean, overall volume still quite low. It's not a wave 3 breakout volume. So for me, this move is entirely corrective. We get that move up, and again, 844 is such a nice rejection zone. You've got the wicks down here for the range low. So you get the first wave up here. This will close the CME gap. Everyone's trying to long up to 100k. We're not going to hit that in one hit. What I'll then look for is that sort of X wave pullback, which generally tends to go sideways. So what we'll see, sideways for a few months, and then we get a final move up to the 100k mark. Everyone's then expecting new highs, and we'll just sort of come back down for a final sort of wave. So it'd be something like this. So we like that. 3 waves for X wave, and then we'll get a sort of move here. So basically, it's just a lot of chop. And then we'll get one more move down to complete this. So you got 1, 2, 3. Then into next year, we'll start seeing that huge sort of move up. So yes, that's what I'm looking at. So again, I am long at the moment. Absolutely no reason to short this right now. Again, you're going to get people shorting every single 5-minute red candle, and it's just not. It just makes no sense. We had this sort of dip earlier on. People will be panicking here, but again, just take your time. The only way you really would short this is if we start losing market structure. So you lay out your levels. So this is resistance, 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 flip over. Now it's support. And you just long it and just ride it up. If we start getting something like this, close below, retest, you'll then re-short here in validation sort of above that level there. But there's no reason to short it now. Sort of on that sort of level, yeah. So long and strong until the trend changes, and the trend clearly is very strong at the moment. Okay, cool. I've also been long on Solana this morning. Yeah, slight pullback. We got a nice sort of reaction off the support zone. Again, what we could be seeing. So again, overall, trend is strong. Ideally, I want to start seeing sort of the range high taken out. So I've already shed some profits, but again, unless we start losing this sort of 88.5 region and close below that, I've got no issues at all at the moment that we're still in an uptrend. Unless we start seeing this, I'm not bearish at all at the moment. So yeah, we're seeing a pullback now, but again, pullbacks are just part of the uptrend. So it's how you sort of get the liquidity to then move back up. Yeah, so Solana, yeah, bullish as it stands. I mean, what we could see, and at that point, I may look to close the position. So potential like a head and shoulders pattern. So we'll get another test down, retest this sort of range here. Then we can sort of look to close the long sort of 8 and 9, look to short it down. But yeah, unless we fall below, retest and then just keep on falling, I'm not gonna drop it just yet. Again, you've got Bitcoin really pushing up, so I'm not really stressed out at the moment. Yeah, in terms of any sort of downside, again, we're gonna see, while Bitcoin is strong, we're seeing Ethereum pull back quite harsh. Bitcoin dominance tends to be on the upside when Bitcoin is strong. Massive pump, so this means that altcoins are losing dominance, hence why Ethereum is seeing this sort of pullback. So yeah, so something to keep an eye on. I'm not long Ethereum at the moment. Bitcoin's a dominating force. We've just got to keep an eye on that and just see how it goes. But so main targets again. So again, it's just to close this gap up. You can see it's a huge gap. So you're looking at 80, pretty much 84 down to 7,297. So again, once we start reclaiming the sort of range high, it's going to be quick fills, quick spikes. Yeah, basically get that filled, so then we can start looking for the shorts and rejections. At the moment, there's no need to panic. I'm pretty much long and strong unless we start coming back below the 78 sort of 2 region. Then you're sort of looking for shorts back into the range. Yeah, altcoins, just be careful and don't overexpose. We're going to be seeing pullbacks purely because Bitcoin is strong at the moment, so all the attention really is on Bitcoin. All right. So yeah, so that's my update. So yeah, hope you guys are well. Again, if you are looking for sort of more in detailed charts, daily calls, do check out my sort of pay groups. Links in descriptions. Always DM me, happy to answer any questions you guys may have. And yeah, so take care. I'll try and get another update. Sort of again, I always aim for a daily update for you guys. But any questions, drop them in the comments. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one.